All right. I think we've got Heather Longhurst coming back on.
I'm coming back on. I'm wearing my party hat. If you know what piece this one came from, you have been around for a while. Guys, hey Mig, can you pull up that thermometer? This is a big moment, everybody. We had some big fat donations come in the last little while. And here we go. You might want to refresh that. I think you need to refresh it. There we go. Guys, we met our goal. We surpassed our goal. We still even have a little bit board match left. And we are at $31,627. We are so grateful. We are so excited. And one thing that we always do to celebrate at Pacific Ballroom Dance in our board meetings and our staff meetings, you might not know this, but we blow bubbles. And so this is definitely a bubble blowing moment. And where are you with your bubbles?
You know what? I lost my bubbles, but I have got a party popper.
Oh, she's got a party popper. Okay, good. Okay, right. I'll blow bubbles and you do your party popper. All right, 1, 2, 3. All right, we are so excited, but this doesn't mean that we stop here. Yes, a lot of celebrating. Every dollar that comes in past $30,000 goes to help us support our Needs Scholarship Program. This year, everybody knows there are families out there that are hurting. Families that have lost income, families that have lost their livelihoods completely. And more than ever, we need kids to be able to continue to dance. So keep giving. Thank you for everyone that has already given. If you haven't had a chance to give yet, there's still some board matching. And go ahead and text 44321. Text PBD Strong to 44321, and we will keep going. All right. All right, our next people, and your video is on. You can go ahead and say goodbye. So I know when she knows she's on, she's very attentive. So I think that she didn't remember that her video is still on. But I see a beautiful face coming right up. The other Heather, or I'm the other Heather sometimes, the Duchess of Pacific Ballroom Dance is here with us. Welcome, Miss Heather.
Hello, so glad to be here.
It is so good to have you here with us today. And I will let you introduce your guest. I'm super excited for this next interview.
So am I. When Anne asked me to do this, I was just like, I couldn't say yes fast enough because I get to talk with a good friend from a long time ago, from our early days of Pacific Ballroom Dance, Mr. Christopher Keene. Are you with us, Kris?
I'm here. Thanks.
Hey, Kris. When I met him was Kris, and later we danced at another. In college, we danced at Brigham Young University, and I showed up, and they said they were talking about Topher. And I'm like, who is this guy? And it was you. So he went by a different name in another circle. So I'm introducing him as Kris, as Topher, and as Christopher today.
That works. Thanks.
All right. So really quickly, you were a part of Pacific Ballroom Dance kind of in the early 2000s, right? And how did you discover Pacific Ballroom Dance? Tell us a little bit about that.
Oh, wow. So long time ago, but I ran into the owner, Sherry Ponder, as well as I worked with Paul Hart, the original founders, Pacific Ballroom, and they weren't Pacific Ballroom back then. They were actually called 48 Feet. So I knew predates, the Pacific Ballroom Dance program, and they kept inviting me to join. They knew I had some dance background previously. I'd done tap, jazz, ballet, and things like that when I was younger, but stopped in the teenage years. And so they kept asking me, and finally I decided for whatever reason to just check it out. Primarily, like I want to say most guys, to just see what other people I could meet, particularly girls, and and went. I think they were practicing in a junior high at that time, Sacagawea. So yeah, that's a junior high school, and just loved it that first day.
Awesome. Now, Pacific Ballroom dance now is pretty different from those days when we practiced in the gym at Sacagawea, and had actually, I think our first concert, you probably moved on already. But tell us what it was like back then.
Oh, back then, well, they just had different routines that they were working on for different performances. It was more, I think, a bigger social function for kids just to meet other kids and have a positive experience, positive activity, and they still do that today, right? It's still a positive social event. I think it was just mainly just to learn how to dance a little bit and get to know other people, and time to time they had performances, and that's what we did. Loved it.
All right, tell us 2 or 3 memories from your time at PBD.
Okay, so am I sharing my screen, by the way?
Yes, you are.
There's some things. There's my family today. We don't need to highlight that right now as much, but I do have 3 kids and my wife here, and we live in Utah. So I'll just have some pictures going on at the same time. But some of my early memories was that first day going to Sacagawea, and they were preparing for a routine, and I had no idea, like, any kind of social dance background at that time, and they were practicing a new dance probably no one has even heard of, perhaps, and it was Latin hustle. So not New York hustle, not Latin, cha, not Latin samba. It was Latin hustle. And so that was a very unique dance. They went through maybe 3/4 of a routine as they prepared for this show. And again, I not only learned a lot of dancing, but I learned a lot of names of new people. And a couple weeks later, I ended up finding myself performing this number with the group. So that was my first recollection. Another memory that I had, for whatever reason, I don't remember all the details, but for whatever reason, we had some practice in, they were in the Pacific Community Building by that time, and I think it was an extra rehearsal, like on a Saturday morning, and when we got there, either there was miscommunication or I don't know what happened, but someone didn't bring a key to open up the building, and we ended up practicing the whole time outside in the parking lot. And I don't know, for me as a youth, thinking, oh, what's not supposed to happen, is happening. We're supposed to practice here in this facility, and now we're practicing outside. I don't know, that just hit me really big, that hey, we can still make this work, and we practiced and had a good time. And to be honest, why I highlight that one is because a couple months ago, I teach another studio here in Utah, and similar situation. The person who needed to open up the building didn't show up with the key, didn't show up, and I ended up practicing in the parking lot with these group of kids. It's almost full circle here, and told them, hey, I don't know if you're going to remember anything that we're actually doing today, but I guarantee you'll probably remember that we're actually dancing in a parking lot.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And I got one more memory, if you don't mind.
Oh, please.
Again, don't remember all the details, but this was a performance somewhere in Washington, and when you're getting ready to perform, you're supposed to show up early, make sure everyone's is prepared. Got to get your costumes on and everything. And for whatever reason, I was without a partner. My partner didn't show up, and so Sherry, I don't know if you're listening, but she was the one that the director at the time. She stepped up, and I got to perform with Sherry Ponder doing a foxtrot number to Slow Boat to China, and that just made my day. I was nervous, but also excited at the same time, and she was so positive and made me feel so good that we had a great number and no mistakes, and it was flawless. So good times.
All right, tell us a little bit more. This number that we're seeing pictures of, and I think that performance that you're talking about was a little bit longer than usually we see dance numbers. Is that right?
Oh my goodness, this one was a favorite number. This one was a big swing routine, and it was 15 minutes long. There were, I believe, 5 different numbers that were just kind of synchronized to flow in and out of one another. So you could have done, maybe 2 of the 5 or 1 of the 5. But when we did them all together, it was 5 straight numbers, 5 minutes each for all of them, for each of them. Oh wait, that doesn't make sense. There were 3 minutes each, 5 numbers, makes 15 minutes, and um, it was a long number. So it replicated a big show at the time that was called Burn the Floor. A lot of professional ballroom dancers participated in this live show, kind of like a Broadway show that they traveled around and did a swing routine. And so we had something very similar. And I love that because we had different solos and things like that. Oh, and there's some highlights of Heather for you since we were on the team together. She was a big favorite with the boys.
Oh
And
dear.
very social person, so just love our friendships together. So
We had a great time. I have great memories of that time in my life. And I feel like, Kris, I owe you my social life then. You were super inclusive, always invited me to do stuff. Most of it included dancing in some fashion. We went to, a dance club in Seattle, or we went to the Rockin' Horse Barn and did line dancing, or we just danced in the parking lot at Wendy's. I have great memories of you kind of taking me under your wing and keeping me with a group of friends that had great values, and we wanted to do positive, fun things. So I appreciate that. All right, so you danced at Pacific Ballroom Dance, but then you continued to dance after that. In fact, there's a picture right there too of when you were on the touring team at Brigham Young University. And you were the very first alumni from PBD to ever be on the touring team. Will you tell us a little bit about that and how you feel like Pacific Ballroom Dance, at least your experience then, prepared you for not just your time with the touring team, but in your future life related to family and relationships, teaching, career, or any other aspect?
first of all, I was very grateful for my time with the Brigham Young University Ballroom Dance team. Just so many great experiences, and maybe some of these photos will highlight some of that. But when I first of all, I didn't even know about BYU, didn't even know about their ballroom program. So that was just something that Pacific Ballroom kind of opened my eyes to. First, the ballroom world, social dance world. Again, I had come from a background of tap, jazz, and other types of dancing, but quit that altogether, and then found this new love, passion for dance again, as well as being able to dance with other people. So when I went to BYU, I had to audition. Sometimes today, kind of a top level performers, top level dancers can go directly to BYU with a scholarship, go like onto their backup team, and that shows how more involved Pacific Ballroom Dance team is today. Back in the olden days, when I learned some dancing through the Pacific Ballroom program, I didn't personally know the difference between international and American style. I just knew cha-cha was cha-cha. I didn't know if I was doing American or international, or didn't recall or whatnot. So when I auditioned, they said you had to do American cha-cha, and I just did cha-cha. And fortunately, with what I had learned, and although I didn't know the difference of those two technique styles at the time, I had enough background and enough proficiency that got me onto the team. So I was grateful to go into the team. 2 years on their beginner team. Then immediately I jumped to a backup team, like not the intermediate team. I went to a backup team for a semester, and then I was on the tour team for 3.5 years. And again, just having that proficiency, learning through a Pacific Ballroom, just being able to social dance even. Sometimes you get so focused in technique and know certain syllabus steps, but they just kind of turn on the music and you don't have a certain routine that you learn and then just perform. You go grab a partner and say, hey, let's dance cha-cha, and they just turn on the music and see how you do from there. So I was grateful to learn more kind of a social style and just be able to do it kind of on the fly. And I think that answers your question.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to know too, we kind of skipped over introducing your family really quickly, but you met your wife through dance, because you're involved in the dance program at BYU. Maybe tell us a little bit about that and how that
Yes.
obviously has affected your life.
Certainly. So, these pictures aren't my they are my wife. Well, that first picture was my wife and my kids, but my wife does she did folk dance at BYU, and I did the ballroom dance program. So doing dance, a lot of similar programs are in the same buildings. If you're doing nursing, if you're doing teaching, construction, you all meet in similar facilities. So since we're both in the dance program or dance classes, saw her in the hallways, saw her in different classes, and once I met her, I then just coincidentally popped into one of her classes while she was warming up. I knew the folk dance teacher, and while they were warming up, doing like a 10-15 minute warm up before the class started, I warmed up with them. I think she thought it was kind of weird at the time, but it gave me some opportunities to talk to her, meet with her, and socialize with her. So had it not been through dance, I would not be married to who I am today.
Yeah. Well, that's really a great story. It's really cool when couples can come together that way and have a common interest. So dance has been a part of your life. You've mentioned a lot that you did, jazz and other styles before. Your wife still teaches classes of folk dance and Irish dancing, I believe. Is that right? In your home.
In our home,
Um,
yes, in our studio.
Yeah, and you still teach as well. Tell us what's different about ballroom dance that makes it worth supporting an organization like Pacific Ballroom Dance.
Well, first of all, I just love ballroom. I'm very biased because I love ballroom dance and love how much I can still do it today. Even though I'm not a youth anymore, even though I'm, not participating in a youth program, I'm no longer at college on a team dancing, learning new routines and dancing. I still get to dance today. I'm grateful that I can still teach. I do some private lessons in my home, at other studios. I help out with different social organizations, teach a couples date night dancing last Friday of each month at a local place here. And after college, friends were getting married, a lot of wedding receptions, different parties, and know how to dance. I don't need to just be sitting down, sitting on the wall or whatnot, and just watching others enjoy themselves. I was grateful that I can dance with my wife, find old friends, and dance like it was yesterday when we were on team, or when we were on the Pacific Ballroom team or the BYU team. And it's just like I'm 10, 20 years younger again. So I just love how dance brings that youthful, spirited energy back into me.
Thank you. Awesome.
Yeah.
I think we only have time for maybe one more question, which is you are really well known, at least to me and a lot of people I know in the different programs we've been in together, for your energy and your enthusiasm in performance. And that picture right there, I was just going to say, and for your toe touches. And it looks like you still have lots of pictures. I gave one that I wanted to show. I guess it doesn't matter anymore because you saw that picture of the toe touch, but how did you discover your abilities in performing and you're doing your toe touches and stuff, and how do you stay positive during challenges?
Sorry, what was the first half of that?
Well, you can answer either one, I guess. How did you discover those? There you
Sorry,
go.
I was trying to find that
one.
picture
That's
for you.
beautiful.
That was in China. How do I stay positive through it all?
Yeah, tell us how you stay positive during challenges, which maybe I wanted to ask you more about, like, what advice you would have to the kids as they're facing these challenges of limitations on what they can do dance-wise right now. What advice do you have about staying positive during this time?
Well, I'm just grateful for what we have versus what we don't have. Yeah, we might not be able to go to different facilities, but we still have our bodies. We still have a space to move in, whether it's in your own living room, whether you can go outside and dance. And to be honest, for those who are performers, what you think is going to happen, what you do so much to plan for a routine, to have a nice, facility to perform in. Unfortunately, it doesn't always go to plan. There's been times where I had to, well, I talked about practicing outside in a parking lot. I've performed in a circus before. I've performed on carpet. I've performed in places with poor dressing rooms. Just, conditions and circumstances that are not ideal. Some of those things we can control, some of the things are out of our control. I've messed up in routines. Your partner may mess up. Others in your routine that you're anticipating it, they need to do their part because we are a formation, we are a group, don't go as planned. And that is something that you learn through all these different mistakes. And just like today, even though we might not have the most ideal situations, we can still make the most of our situation. For me, I enjoy kind of exercise classes through kind of another program called High Fitness, and I love doing that through Zoom. It's not quite the same with being in person, live sessions, but it's still some exercise. It's kind of half dancing, half exercise, or just, to me, it's just dancing, and I just happen to be exercising, sweating, and having fun. And for me, I just enjoy having that positive attitude because it's not going to do me any good to dwell on the things that I don't have. And things seem to be going all right.
All right, thank you so much. It's been so much fun to talk to you. I know that you have so much more that you could share with all of us, and hopefully we'll have another opportunity in the future. But for now, I have to pass it back to our hosts, and they will introduce us to our next set of guests. Thanks, Kris.
Thanks for the opportunity, and good to see you again, Heather. Till next time.